the cosmic beginning. About 13.8 billion years ago, everything began with a massive cosmic explosion we now call the Big Bang. Space, time, and matter all burst into existence from a single, unimaginably dense point. In mere moments, the universe expanded faster than light itself. As the universe cooled, the simplest elements, hydrogen and helium, formed. Gravity started pulling this matter together into clumps that would become stars. These first stars ignited, burned brightly, and when they died, they exploded in supernovas, spreading heavier elements across the cosmos. Over time, galaxies took shape, billions of them, each containing billions of stars. In one quiet corner of one such galaxy, our Milky Way, a young star named the Sun was born about 4.6 billion years ago. Around it, a disk of dust and rock coalesced into planets, including our home, Earth. Earth began violently, covered in magma oceans and bombarded by asteroids. But as things cooled, water collected, continents formed, and eventually conditions became just right for something incredible to happen: life. And let's take a moment to appreciate that this planet, floating in cold, dark space, managed to become a giant, wet rock party for molecules that got ambitious. Life evolution. Life started small, really small. The first living things were single-celled organisms, possibly forming around hydrothermal vents deep in the ocean. For billions of years, Earth was a microbial planet. Imagine Earth as one big, moist, squishy bacterial soup. Then, around 2.5 billion years ago, cyanobacteria began photosynthesizing, producing oxygen. This was great news for the future, but a catastrophe for the early anaerobic life forms. It triggered Earth's first mass extinction. Oxygen? Great for breathing, not so great if you're not ready for it. Fast forward to about 600 million years ago, multicellular life took off. Oceans filled with strange creatures: jellyfish, worms, trilobites. The Cambrian explosion around 541 million years ago saw an explosion of diversity. Life was experimenting with legs, shells, eyes, and more. Plants made their way onto land, followed by insects, then vertebrates. Amphibians evolved, then reptiles, then mammals. Dinosaurs ruled for 165 million years, growing enormous, weird, and sometimes feathered. Then came the asteroid. Boom! 66 million years ago. Wiped out 75% of species. Goodbye dinosaurs, except birds. Hello mammals. A door slammed shut, but another opened. For us. Humans' evolution. About 6 to 7 million years ago, human ancestors split from other great apes. They began walking upright, giving them an edge in spotting predators and freeing up hands to use tools. Homo habilis, one of the earliest members of our genus, was crafting basic stone tools over 2 million years ago. Then came Homo erectus, who used fire, built shelters, and migrated far beyond Africa. They were like early explorers with better posture. Eventually, Homo sapiens, us, emerged about 300,000 years ago. We were smarter, more social, better at communication. We made art, buried our dead, and developed complex tools. We drew animals on cave walls and might have even had the world's first drum circles. Within tens of thousands of years, humans had spread to every continent except Antarctica. We adapted to frozen tundras, scorching deserts, dense jungles, and thrived. We were hunter-gatherers for most of this time, roaming, foraging, surviving. But something big changed around 12,000 years ago. We stopped chasing food and started growing it. Agriculture. The agricultural revolution changed everything. In the Fertile Crescent, people began planting wheat and barley. In China, millet and rice. In the Americas, corn and potatoes. Farming led to food surpluses, which led to population growth. Humans began settling in one place. Villages turned into towns, then cities. Governments, religion, trade, and writing emerged. Around 5,000 years ago, the first great civilizations formed: Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, the Indus Valley, and early Chinese dynasties. Writing systems like cuneiform and hieroglyphs weren't about poetry. They tracked grain, labor, and taxes. As civilizations grew, rulers didn't just survive, they started building temples to their gods and giant statues of themselves. Social hierarchies emerged. So did conflict. Cities went to war, empires rose and fell. Inventions like the wheel, plow, sail, and bronze tools accelerated development. People started to organize into complex societies with specialized roles: farmers, soldiers, artisans, priests. These early civilizations built calendars, mapped stars, developed law codes, and traded across continents. Empires' evolution. As civilizations expanded, so did their influence. In India, Hinduism and Buddhism emerged, offering paths to spiritual enlightenment. In China, Confucianism and Taoism shaped governance and philosophy. In the Middle East, Judaism laid the foundation for monotheism. Meanwhile, empires like the Assyrians, Babylonians, and Persians grew vast and powerful. Greece gave the world philosophy, democracy, at least for some, and Olympic Games. Socrates questioned everything, Plato wrote it down, and Aristotle tried to categorize all of existence. Then came Rome. It borrowed from the Greeks, expanded rapidly, and built roads, aqueducts, and legal systems. At its peak, it ruled most of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Christianity began as a small sect in Roman Judea and grew to become the dominant religion of the empire. After Rome fell in the West in 476 CE, the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantium, carried on for another 1,000 years. Ideas, beliefs, and governance systems began to solidify across continents. The Silk Road connected cultures, trade spread goods and diseases alike, and humanity was learning that the world was bigger and more connected than ever. Middle Ages. The early Middle Ages were a time of fragmentation in Europe. Feudalism replaced central governments. Castles, knights, and lords ran the show. But knowledge didn't disappear. It moved east. The Islamic Golden Age preserved Greek texts, expanded science, and introduced innovations in medicine, math, and architecture. In Africa, kingdoms like Mali, Ghana, and Songhai thrived, with cities like Timbuktu becoming centers of learning. In Asia, the Tang and Song dynasties advanced printing, gunpowder, and navigation. The Mongols created the largest land empire in history, connecting East and West and enabling cultural exchange. The Black Death devastated populations in the 14th century, killing up to half of Europe's population. But Europe eventually rebounded. The Renaissance rekindled interest in science, art, and humanism. Leonardo painted, Galileo observed, and Machiavelli got political. Then came the Age of Exploration. European powers sailed the globe, claiming land and riches, often at great cost to indigenous peoples. Empires expanded, maps were redrawn, and humanity was now fully global. Industrial evolution. The Enlightenment sparked new ideas. These ideas fueled revolutions. America declared independence in 1776. France followed with its own more radical revolution. Across Latin America, nations fought for freedom from colonial powers. Then came machines. The Industrial Revolution began in Britain with textiles, steam engines, and factories. It transformed how people lived, worked, and traveled. Urbanization skyrocketed. People moved to cities. Conditions were often awful: child labor, pollution, disease. But progress didn't stop. Railways, electricity, telegraphs, and eventually telephones changed everything. Mass production became the norm. Factories spread, capitalism boomed. But so did inequality. Labor movements rose to fight for workers' rights. New ideologies, socialism, nationalism, liberalism, entered the scene. The modern nation-state was forming, and tensions were brewing beneath the surface of this ever-advancing world. The modern world. The 20th century brought both incredible progress and unimaginable destruction. 2 world wars reshaped borders and devastated millions. The Holocaust shocked the conscience of humanity. The Cold War split the world into 2 spheres, each armed with nuclear weapons. But there was also hope. Decolonization freed many nations. Civil rights movements challenged injustice. The United Nations was formed. Humanity landed on the moon, and live broadcasted it. Technology leapt forward. Computers, the internet, biotechnology. Information became instant. Social media transformed communication. Globalization interconnected economies and cultures. Even memes became a universal language. Today, we face massive challenges: climate change, inequality, pandemics, misinformation, but also massive opportunities: green energy, space exploration, medical breakthroughs, AI, and global collaboration. History teaches us that humans are resilient. We adapt, we rebuild, and we imagine better futures. The next chapter? That's for us to write. And that's the whole history of the world. No big deal, just 13.8 billion years in a few minutes. Like, subscribe, and maybe send a thank you note to your ancestors. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.